Hey guys, so we're going to talk about the Garmin 530 used in Fly This Sim. We're going to do a very simple approach. You should be able to see my mouse cursor moving around. And we'll stop here at the C button mixed with the arrow. Now that is going to flip-flop between your active and standby COM frequencies. The little C here is for the COM volume, to raise the volume up or down for the COM. Then the V button here with the arrows is going to take your VOR or localizer frequency, your navigation frequencies, and take the active and swap it with the standby. Down below, you have the V knob. That again is for the volume of your frequencies for navigation purposes. That for identifying Morse code, and if you're listening to something over the VOR frequency as well. Coming down, bottom left-hand side, we have the push button and rotary knobs to set and tune your COM or nav frequencies. So push in to highlight, rotate to highlight each number or highlight the 100s numbers versus the decimal numbers, and then rotate on the bottom one to set those frequencies as needed. Moving to the right, you have CDI, which you can use to set for a localizer approach, an ILS approach, and your VOR as you're on a cross country using VOR navigation. The OBS mode over here will be for setting GPS purposes. If you set a fix somewhere and you want to track to it a certain way, like on your own from a certain radial, or say an airport. Select the direct to an airport or an airport that you're already tracking towards via your flight plan. You can hit OBS mode, and it will give you an imaginary line coming out from the airport to the OBS heading that you set. So if you're landing on runway 5, set the OBS to 050. And that way you can intercept a straight in line to that runway. Next off, messages. Any messages that are being presented to you by the actual unit about waypoints coming up, loss of GPS receiving, that's going to come in here and you'll click on that to read it. Flight plan is where you build, edit your flight plan. So your departure point, your en route fixes, and your destination. You can even potentially put in your alternates in here as well. Then you have, I think, a VNAV. I think that is what that says there. We'll have to play around and see what the limitations of the VNAV would be on the 530 and Fly This Sim. There are sometimes issues with that. Procedures. To have this button work, you need at least a departure and a destination airport. Primarily, this works with your destination airport to select a procedure for arriving there. So a standard terminal arrival and then an approach. Procedure will also work if the airport you're departing from has a standard instrument departure for you to use. That you will select here. Now, when selecting procedures or entering your flight plan, you will use the bottom right-hand knob to push in to highlight, and then use the top portion to rotate down and highlight each area or fix or departure station or arrival station, to highlight each part or select the procedure that you want to use, and then push to highlight or just rotate to highlight, enter, and then set your points from there. And then if you're putting in the flight plan, you'll use push in open the flight plan editor. Then you use the top part of the rotator to move to each line of the flight plan. And once you're in each line of the flight plan, you then edit by using the bottom side, to go through all of your alphabetical and numeric numbers to use to set fixes and airports. Once you have those set, you hit enter. It'll load it into the flight plan. Enter is your primary executable button. to tell the computer that, yes, I want you to do this or that. Clear sometimes clears things out, or it takes you back to a different page and menu. Menu, it brings up a menu. Direct to button will work, and you will set in your direct to point by using the bottom right hand rotator knobs to set the airport or fix you want to go to. And if you want to go direct to a point in the flight plan, you actually need to go to flight plan, and then you need to use this bottom right knob to highlight the point on the flight plan to go direct to by highlighting it, hitting enter, and then you can go direct to that point that way. Now, when you are using these buttons on the bottom, especially flight plan, procedure, or you're at the moving map display on the center, you will see little shaded or non-shaded rectangle boxes on the bottom. I know that sounds redundant saying rectangular boxes, but when you start using it, you'll notice these. You can cycle through those different boxes to get different menus and different views of maps and other things by using the top rotating knob, if I remember correctly. If it's not the top, it's the bottom. You have a 50-50 chance of getting that right. So, with all that said, I think that covers the basic function of how to use the 530. The 430 is a direct copy of that. The only thing the 430 does not have is whatever this button says. It's just not a high enough quality picture for me to tell what that says. Everything else still works exactly the same. It's just a more, a smaller real estate area to play around with. But all the buttons do the exact same thing. I hope that helps. Let me know of any improvements you'd like to see me do in the future. Thanks for your time. Talk to you again soon.